Haven't been smoking marijuana for 3 months.
Just
specifically
none at all.
THC.
When I was growing up, I would see parents do where you force a child to be what you want them to be.
Emancipated, is that right?
I'm not going anywhere. Everything at his house is free. So I can get anything and everything that I want at his house. So I think I'm gonna be there for 20, 30 more years.
My baby boy, he's never leaving me, ever.
Will and Jada Pinkett Smith's relationship is often what lands them in the news, despite the hugely successful career both individuals have built over the years. But what is even more interesting is the couple's family dynamics, and how their marriage has impacted their children and the upbringing given to them. Why then are there reports that the Smiths are not the best of parents? And does their son, Jaden Smith, also agree that his folks are the worst? Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith have been together for over 25 years, and their long-standing relationship has produced 2 children, son Jaden Smith and daughter Willow Smith. And the couples are also parents to Will's first son, 29-year-old Trey Smith, that he birthed from his former marriage to Cherise Impino. And although Jaden and Willow's parents are one of the most famous couples in Hollywood, that doesn't mean the Smiths' kids are not known, as they're pretty famous in their own right, even if the world has always had a love-hate attraction to celebrity children who follow their parents into showbiz. Willow and Jaden have forged successful careers in music, and Jaden has even acted in movies like The Karate Kid and The Pursuit of Happiness, and has gone on to become one of Hollywood's most influential families, which means the famous household is under constant scrutiny from the media, and that doesn't exempt Will and Jada's parenting style. From Jaden and Willow producing world-celebrated music, to their parents dominating the movie industry and even hosting a wildly successful therapy talk show, it's safe to say the Smiths family has done it all, and have succeeded in all they've dabbled into. Except parenting, according to some sources. The unique parenting of Will and Jada's children has been one of the most prominent topics discussed about the family in the press. The most memorable incident calling out Will and Jada's alleged incompetence happened a couple of years ago, when the New York Post ran a scathing opinion piece about the Smith children, titled, "Any Reasonable Parent Would Be Ashamed of Will Smith's Kids." The article read harshly, starting out by criticizing, "We don't know for sure that Will and Jada Pinkett Smith are the most horrible parents on earth. But the case for that seems strong when you consider they're uber-entitled, brainless, self-adoring, twaddle-spewing little munchkins." The rumors even got worse when it was reported that, unlike any typical parent who dish out consequences for bad behavior to their children, the Smiths prefer to let their children experience the natural consequences of their actions, meaning they don't impose their own punishments. In an interview with E! News, Will Smith was asked when was the last time he punished Jaden. His response was thought-provoking. "We don't do punishment," he said. "The way that we deal with our kids is they're responsible for their lives. Our concept is, as young as possible, give them as much control over their lives as possible. And the concept of punishment, our experience has been, it has a little too much of a negative quality. So when they do things, and you know Jaden, he's done things, you can do anything you want as long as you can explain to me why that was the right thing to do for your life." Will confessed himself and his wife prefer to let their kids express themselves wholly, and however they choose to do that. For example, at the age of 12, Willow completely shaved her head, and their son, Jaden, is often seen wearing skirts as he identifies as being gender fluid. There was also the time Willow first generated polluted controversy in 2014, when she was just a 13-year-old, posing in bed with a shirtless 20-year-old male friend, actor Moises Arias. The Smiths defend their children's sometimes wacky choices by explaining that they have always allowed them to be completely in control of their own bodies, choices that were met by different public reactions. Of course, in his own capacity as a father and to defend his and Jada's choice of parenting style, Will has granted interviews speaking on how he chooses to relate to his children. In one of his interviews, the actor sat down to have a live conversation with Spike Lee and spoke candidly about how his children's rise to fame at a young age changed not only their lives, but his too. Recalling a specific memory that he said triggered a major transition in his life, Will spoke about his personal relationship with his children, especially his daughter Willow. During a world tour of Justin Bieber in Dublin, with Willow present as a support act, Will said he and his daughter shared a terrifying moment that changed his approach to parenting. "I was like, I am parenting the shit out of these kids," Will said of his children reaching career heights at such a young age. "I felt like I was doing really, really well," explaining that his daughter, who was just 10 at the time, decided then and there that she was ready to take a break. "Thank you, Daddy, I'm finished," said Willow after leaving the stage. According to Will, that event changed the trajectory of his parenting, even related to the experience to his own life, admitting that Willow's actions had allowed him to see that his feelings were rarely given consideration as a child. In his brand new memoir, Will also recalled the heart-shattering moment that his son, Jaden, asked to be legally emancipated at 15 years old. You'll remember the time Will and Jaden co-starred in the 2013 post-apocalyptic action movie After Earth, which marked one of Jaden's first major acting gigs when he was just 15 years old. But unfortunately for the father-son duo, the film was, as described by Will, an abysmal box office and critical failure. And inevitably, the backlash put a huge strain on him and Jaden's relationship. In the excerpt from his new memoir, Will revealed that it was his son who took the brunt of fans' criticism, explaining that they said and printed things about Jaden that I refused to repeat. Will alluded that the severity of the backlash had such an impact on Jaden that he ultimately asked to be legally separated from his parents, making him feel like he had failed in his duty as a father. At 15 years old, when Jaden asked about being an emancipated minor, my heart shattered, Will wrote. He ultimately decided against it, but it sucks to feel like you've hurt your kids. Will went on to detail the lack of trust his son Jaden had in him following the buckload of negative reviews the movie garnered, and its overall failure to do well in the box office. We never discussed it, but I know he felt betrayed. Will wrote of his relationship with Jaden. He felt misled, and he lost his trust in my leadership. There have also been reports of the couple enrolling their children, Willow and Jaden, in an alleged secret Scientology school founded by the Smiths, called the New Village Leadership Academy, which opened in 2008, although short-lived, before quietly shuttering 5 years later. The couple once again denied any affiliations with the controversial religion, saying, "We've never been Scientologists. We've never been swingers," despite their son, Jaden, making waves at the time when he tweeted, "School is the tool to brainwash the youth." Unlike the media's perception of them, according to multiple sources close to the couple years ago when their children were much smaller, the Smiths are actually highly dedicated parents. They were amazing with their kids. Their kids always came first, the source said. Despite ample criticism, Jada has always been proud of her unique parenting style. "I'm not a conventional parent, which I take a lot of pride in," she said in 2014. "I don't just sit with Willow and go, hey, this is what mommy thinks." Some fans seem to agree with the Smiths' unique style, though, agreeing with Willow's observation about the Black community shunning her and her brother just because they're perceived as different. One fan on Twitter said, "And she's right. Jaden was doing all the fashion trends y'all praise white boys on TikTok for doing, except y'all called him gay. Everyone regarded them as weirdos and dragged their parents for how they raised them." Another admirer of the Smiths kids simply praised them. "Bruh, ever since I knew about them, I always found them super cool. They're so unique and different and so true to themselves. And that's totally what I yearn to be." What do you think of Will and Jada's way of parenting? Do you agree with it or object? Are you a fan of the Smiths, particularly their kids? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. See you next time, and thanks for watching.